Travis, keep the music all ready. And Dion, who goes up first?
We're very, very, very proud to welcome one of Absecon Island's own, Peter Murphy.
Peter Murphy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for Peter. So, if Peter's story feels like, and you're confident, even though it's the first story you've heard all night, if you know this is my favorite story of the night, you're going to write that down on a piece of paper that will be given to you. Did we give them to them yet?
No.
On a piece of paper that will be given to you right now. So I'm going to run around and do that, or collect it during intermission.
Don't move. I have a bone to pick with you people, you sex brigade people, and a complaint and a warning. Everyone knows at the last Story Slam, I told the greatest story. Everyone knows that. Everyone. But did I win the Voter Appreciation Award? No, I didn't. Why not? Because of the voter fraud that's going on here. At least 3,000 people who don't even know where the Story Slam is did not vote for me. They voted for other people. So I'm warning you, Story Slam, if I do not win the Voters Award tonight, this will be the end. But if I do win, this will be the greatest Story Slam in Atlantic City. Thank you. You may go. The story I'm going to tell you is not a story that I made up. In fact, it's a very old story. It's a Sufi story. It's at least 800 years old. But it's very relevant today. Once upon a time, there was a king, and the king had a kingdom. And the king had a very, very big ego and very small hands. The king did not trust his people because they kept telling him his hands were small, but he thought that they were large. He kept telling them that he was doing great things, and they said they weren't so great. And he decided that everyone in his kingdom must be lying. So he made a decision. He was going to banish all liars. He would not let any of those immigrant liars into his kingdom. So he instructed his engineer to build a big wall around the kingdom. And around that wall, he created a moat. And he instructed the engineers to build a bridge over the moat, and on that bridge, to build a gallows. And then he instructed the captain of his army, on a certain day at sunrise, he's calling the captain now. Yes, he said, I want you to interrogate every person that comes over the bridge that is trying to get into our city. And I want you to determine from your interrogation whether or not they are telling the truth or telling a lie. And if they are telling a lie, you are to hang them. This is what things have come to. However, there was another person in the kingdom. There probably were others, but the other of note was a man named Nasruddin. And you probably know people like Nasruddin because he was an idiot. But he was also a wise idiot. In fact, he was the wisest person in the kingdom. And so, the night before this edict was to take place, Nasruddin left the city, went out to the other side of the river, the other side of the moat, and he slept in the woods, he slept in the mud. And in the morning, as the first rooster rose across the sky and brightened it up, and the sun went cock-a-doodle-doo, Nasruddin started running across the river, filthy, his hair was a mess, going, ah! And the soldiers saw him coming, and they got ready. Ah! And they grabbed him. The captain recognized Nasruddin and said, this is going to be trouble. Nasruddin! Ah! Where are you going? Ah! Where are you going? Ah! Where are you going? I'm going to be hanged, he said. Well, that's made an easy problem. Solved, right? String him up, the captain said. They tied his hands behind him. They lifted him up to the gallows. They put the neck around his head. The captain was about to push the lever, and one of the other soldiers said, excuse me, Captain. Captain? What? Captain? What? If we hang him, he'll be telling the truth. Yeah. The captain did not know what to do, so he sent that soldier to get the king, and the king came, and the king saw Nasruddin. That king knows Nasruddin. Everybody knew Nasruddin. The king doesn't like Nasruddin. Nasruddin, what are you trying to do? What's your problem here? And he said, it's not my problem, it's your problem. Why is it my problem? You cannot legislate the truth. And for the very first time in his life, the king had a tiny bit of humility in him, and he realized he was right. This is a fairy tale. And he ordered the soldiers to take down the gallows and let people into the city unobstructed. And perhaps it was the next day, or a month later, or perhaps it never happened at all. But the king was walking around his city, and he came to the market, and he saw how prosperous his sellers were. There were the people selling very expensive cloths, and they were selling over here fine fragrances and wine, and everybody was rich and happy and getting fat. And then he saw a booth that had absolutely nothing in it except Nasruddin sitting in the dirt. Now the king tried to walk away, but it's like a cat with a little, laser dot. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't help himself. Nasruddin, what are you doing? I'm selling. What are you selling? I'm selling the truth. He should have walked away then. How much are you selling the truth for? $1 million a word. How can you charge so much? And Nasruddin replied, haven't you noticed the scarcity of an item determines its value? Thank you.